But now the question is to learn how to earn digital trust through personalization and big data analytics. Of course, from the previous session, we learned that people are ready to pay to protect their personal data. They are ready to do so and to actually pay for actual security. I'd like us to welcome on stage Vess Popov, Business Development Director of the Psychometric Center for the University of Cambridge. And actually, we're about to switch from a cybersecurity perspective to a more interesting social-economic one. Please, Vesseline, I'm just waiting for you on stage.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Great. Well, thank you very much for having me. It's my first time at Digiworld, and I'm sure it won't be the last after both this morning's program and what's coming later. I'd like to talk a little bit about the role that personalization can play in helping organizations and governments and individuals earn trust in the digital economy. A brief introduction to myself and the Psychometric Center. We are an academic research institution in the University of Cambridge, and we look at tools for psychological assessment and research into human behavior in digital environments. So we work a lot with new forms of data, such as social media data and IoT data, to study things that have traditionally been studied by psychologists, so things like personality and intelligence and trustworthiness. I think everyone in this room will probably agree with me that our life is mediated by algorithms of one kind or another. So whether it's search engines or stock exchange algorithms, we know that our data is used, and that can both render amazing services for us to use and also comes with risks. So these are some examples of times when algorithms have gone wrong in the sense that the historical prejudice in the data on which they are trained has come out due to an actuarial approach to prediction. So what I mean by this is that you might have a very accurate machine learning model that can accurately predict who should be admitted to a school based on who has been admitted before, or how much housing prices will fluctuate in different areas, or how much people might earn in a given job. And the problem is that as humans, we of course are biased in many aspects of life, even when we want to create equality and trust in the system. So when we train an algorithm on our own data, that algorithm, without a psychological understanding, can also end up having the same prejudices. And I think this is important to remember. What I believe that personalization can do in this area and how it can help is two main things. So one, it can help us to empower citizens through analytics, so building tools and giving them ways to understand their own data. And secondly, it can help organizations create a dialogue around data with consumers that can lead to better understanding on both sides. So first of all, empowering citizens. I'd like to talk a little bit about what we've done to try and empower citizens and create our own customer analytics platforms, if you like. And this really started for us in 2007 with the My Personality Facebook app, which my colleague David Stilwell created. What it was a Facebook app where you could take popular personality and other psychological tests completely for free, receive your results and your feedback, and then we ask people to opt in to share their data with us for research. So you could take 100 question personality tests, 300 question personality tests, and also share your Facebook data with us. So this resulted in a huge database of psychological ground truth and social media data. So what you listen on Spotify, what you like on Facebook, the language you use in your status updates, and so on. From this, we both open sourced the data for academic researchers around the world, and it's used by about 80 universities. And we showed that it's possible to predict very sensitive personal attributes from fairly innocuous digital footprints, such as Facebook likes. So we showed that, for example, it's possible to predict personality, intelligence, life satisfaction, ethnicity, sexual orientation, whether your parents were together when you were 21 or divorced, whether you use addictive substances, and many other things using only Facebook likes. So signals of preference and behavior in the digital environment. If you're wondering what you need to like so that our algorithm thinks that you're more intelligent than average, here's a list of some examples. So, of course, it makes sense that people who like Mozart and science are more likely to be of higher IQ. There are also some unusual things that came out in spurious in the correlation. So, for example, liking Morgan Freeman's voice, or liking walking on crunchy leaves is also, or curly fries is also correlated with high intelligence, which is very surprising and unusual. So this is a list of things I've, of course, never heard of. Probably none of you have either. But we did give Harley-Davidson the right to respond, and you can imagine how they took it. Of course, if we haven't yet found the limit of what is predictable from digital behavior from a psychological standpoint. So it's absolutely would be possible to predict aspects of trustworthiness from a psychological perspective. This was a large meta-analysis of many studies looking at correlations between Big Five personality, which is the most popular index for describing personality, and aspects of corruption and fraud in occupational settings and in criminal justice. So it would certainly be possible. And this approach has benefits over the questionnaire-based approach because, as you might imagine, the kinds of people who are untrustworthy are also the kinds of people who will lie on a test. So using an actual record of behavior can give advantages. We showed in January of last year that personality prediction algorithms can actually surpass the accuracy of human judges. So this was by comparing our likes prediction to the ratings of people's friends and family and roommates on what they think their personality is. So if any of you in your companies use 360-degree feedback, then a computer algorithm with 10 of your Facebook likes is already more accurate at predicting your ground truth on the test used by researchers. With 100 likes, it's better than your friends and roommates at predicting your personality, and with 300, it can actually surpass the accuracy of people's husbands and wives. So very, very powerful. Of course, this can be done with text as well. So here's an example of the differences in language used by extroverts and by introverts. I think what we really strive to do, and what we are happy to see more of, is putting technology of this kind in the hands of citizens. So the Citizen Me app is an example of somewhere where you can take tests and get insights on your data, but all of the results are stored locally on the device. And then there's a secure exchange to share that with others and get rewarded as a result. So it is possible from a technological standpoint. My second point is around enabling a dialogue. So actually, this isn't very difficult to do, and it is mandated, and there are many calls for explaining the black box of big data analytics so that we avoid some of those problems of algorithms that are racist or sexist or prejudiced in other ways. I think Amazon does a pretty good job of doing this in a simple way. So I have the option to say, actually, I'm not interested in this thing you're recommending because I already own it, or I'm just not interested, and maybe don't use this previous purchase for recommendations because someone else was using my account. I think this is very simple. It could be done with more complex recommendations that are based on personality as well. And I think this is something I would certainly like to see more of from the perspective of building trust around advertising and communication. Here's an example of explaining my the black box that produces my profile. So you can try this for yourselves if you like and see what it says, but you'll see that it tells me what features in the model are making me seem more or less masculine or more or less intelligent, and the same can be done with personality. Sticking to the kind of theme of simplicity, I think that it's really important in communications to actually remember the value of clear and simple language. As our algorithms and technology becomes more and more complicated, the need to describe things in a simple and interpretable and personalized way will only increase. So this is a great example from XKCD of a rocket described using only the 1,000 most popular words in the English language. So you'll see at the top is the thing to help people escape really fast if there's a problem. And at the bottom, in the rocket, there's the thing that blows fire to make you go up to space, right? So even rocket science could be explained in much simpler language, and I think there is something to be learned from this kind of extreme example. I know we'll have more stats later, but I wanted to just quickly share 3 main things. We did a large study earlier this year looking at attitudes towards trust and prediction and machine learning, and actually asking people around the world what would they like big data and machine learning to be used for. Would they like it to be used for health? Would they like it to be used for insurance? How do they feel about bankers being recommended to them based on their personality and these kinds of things? And one of the things that came out that surprised me was that over a quarter of people said they would pay $3 a month to use Facebook without their behavior being recorded, given that the average revenue per user per month is just over $1. And I think this is, although it's not a majority, I think it shows that there is a demand for the kind of pay for privacy or privacy as a service model. We have more information coming on connected things and IoT later, and I think that people are starting to think, so kind of non-specialists are starting to think about ways that that technology could benefit them in their everyday lives. And to end, the most surprising and the kind of clearest reminder that we still have a lot of work to do with regards to trust is that only 29% of the people we surveyed thought that most companies with access to their personal data use it ethically. And I don't think that is true. I think that most companies absolutely do use the data ethically and invest in cybersecurity and other kind of communications around what they do. But it's a kind of chilling reminder that organizations need to do everything they can to communicate to ordinary citizens what it is that they're doing, and not only when something goes wrong, an algorithm misbehaves, or there's an attack. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Veselin. It was actually a really great keynote, and people on Twitter actually were just following what you were saying. And the main question is still on the title of your keynote: how much can we trust an algorithm? And also, they totally noticed and highlighted the very last one of the very last arguments you gave about the fact that privacy need to be seen as a service right now. So, how much can we trust algorithm? How much can Facebook or any social network can portray you through algorithms? And of course, the fact that you have to bear in mind that you are what you like on the digital economy and on digital era. Thank you so much again, and of course, you'll be with us if the audience has some question for you. You'll stay with us in Montpellier for the next 2 days?
Yes.
1 day?
Just 1 day and a half, so as long as I can.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And now, please, and you can applaud Veselin, of course.